Oh, goody. Let's talk about taxes. Who's fired up? Can you tell who's the CPA? One of these things are not like the other. Good evening, everybody. My name is Randy Lucas. I'm a tax consultant, and I work with a number of solar developer companies, kind of on the behind the scenes. We all have our gifts, and my gift is not hanging solar panels. I focus on the tax incentives related to these projects, and so we're just going to go through a few slides. I want to thank you for the invitation to come out, and you can go to the next slide. I use a lot of graphics or pictures. I'm trying to, in our practice, we're trying to be a little more different. So we're trying to use a lot less words in our PowerPoints and using pictures. And so this is a house with solar panels on the top. It's not my house, but it's a very nice house. And I use this to kind of set the tone because although this is probably a house where there's a lot of 4th of July and Thanksgivings and great holidays. Now this house, in the way to kind of use an old phrase from an Apple marketing campaign, to think different. This is now a power plant, right? So this is producing power every day. And I just think that's kind of just a way of thinking about things differently. And so it's just great that you're interested in looking into this program. And this is definitely where I believe we're evolving and moving forward to thinking this way. Our cars are becoming smarter. Our phones are definitely smarter. Our houses are becoming smarter. Hopefully we will, well, never mind. Next slide. I always like to show this. I know you can't see this, but I always, when I give presentations on solar and tax credits and everything, this is not relatively new. And in fact, this is an article from the first time the New York Times mentioned solar in the paper. They published an article back in April of 1931. So it's been 83 years, yes. And if you get a chance to download a copy of it, they still have it on their website. You can download a copy of it, and they just talk about, the solar thing's right around the corner. It's about to happen any day now. But it's not new, but it is. There are a lot of things that have been going on recently to make solar more affordable. And again, more people are interested in it. There are a lot of other intangibles that we talked about with the previous speakers. So you're starting to see more of it. You're starting to see more energy efficiency as well. So in a short amount of time, and I make a pledge not to talk a lot about the tax code. I want to make this easy. So I would just want to kind of give you 3 key words to remember in this kind of tax overview or tax discussion. First one is relax. There is not much you can do right now in 2014 with your taxes until, as you know, 2014 is over, okay? So a lot of times when I'm talking to customers on a proposal with the firms I work with, they're all fired up and they're ready to go. And there are a lot of things going on over here. You got to deal with the utility commission and the contractors. But as far as taxes go, there's really not much you can do until you know your income for the year and the year is over, okay? And this is a transaction that you're not going to have every year, right? It's not like the charitable contributions you make every year. So it is a little unique, but we'll see that it's very similar, okay? And just a couple extra forms. The next, these are my pictures that kind of help you feel relaxed. I'm sorry. I got carried away on my whole spiel, but that's my company mascot right there. That's my dog. His name's Energy. And just next slide, sorry. The second word, relax, then Sally. And Sally is actually more than one word, I know, but it's an accounting term we use called same as last year. And the point of this is to say that when you invest in renewable energy, invest in solar, as it pertains to how you prepare your taxes, you don't need to hire a team of lawyers. You don't need to you use the same method you use for your tax return. Next slide. There you go. If you use, if you go to H&R Block, great. If you use TurboTax, I use TurboTax for our practice and for my personal returns. You use another, whatever you use, by our experience, just about every software package utilizes the ability to capture the tax credits. Who uses TurboTax? Yeah. It's probably the most popular one, and we all have our PCs and get after it. TurboTax can handle the tax credits just fine. And again, if you do have a tax preparer, they can get the forms you need again. So relax, same as last year. Next. And so before I get into my third word, we're just going to go through a few things with the federal and North Carolina renewable energy tax credit, which is essentially, this is renewable energy property, and you're investing in it, and it opens an opportunity for you to take advantage of certain tax credits. Next. So for your federal, there's a 30% tax credit in the year in which you make the transaction. So if you go through the project in 2014, the cost of your project will be a credit for 30% of the cost, your overall all-in cost, okay? That's a key concept because we have a couple cases where there was a solar install and there was a tree in the way, right? You heard Jennifer Roberts talking about the tree. There was a tree that was blocking part of the path. So that tree removal, that was a direct cost related to the installation. That would be something that you would include in this all-in, and then whatever it is, you take 30% of it. And it's a dollar-for-dollar reduction of your federal tax liability, okay? So not your taxable income, but after that number, where you go back and look in the tables, for those of you who are old school, go back and look at the tables, that number, it's 30% off, or it's a dollar-for-dollar reduction off of whatever that number is. And again, it's for all costs, and it runs through 2016. The tax code, both federal and North Carolina, they view these transactions on a year-by-year basis, okay? So if you make a purchase in 2014, and let's say you have a second property or a vacation home you want to put panels on in 2015, those are viewed as two separate transactions, okay, two separate events. And so it is per year, and it runs currently through the end of 2016, okay? Next. So we're blessed to be in North Carolina, and we have a 35% tax credit on top of the federal tax credit. As of today, yes. That currently runs through the end of 2015, but it is an incentive for residential. It's limited to $10,500, so it's 35%, capped at $10,500 per installation, and it is a credit against your North Carolina income limited to 50% of your North Carolina liability, okay? So you go through and you calculate just as normal your taxes, and we'll do some math on that, math gymnastics on that in a minute. But essentially, as your federal is a dollar-for-dollar reduction against all of your federal liability. When you do the state return, it's limited to 50%. And then unused credits can be carried forward for 5 years. And I have the word not uncommon down there. And that is what we find. We find that with our tax rate in the state and with this 50% limitation, unless, just the circumstances kind of fall in line, it's probably going to take you maybe 2 years to consume that. And that's by design. The legislation was designed that way, okay? So it's not unusual. Relax. It is definitely something that, again, these software systems can handle, and they will carry it over. Same thing for the federal. If you have more tax credit than you have liability, I have some clients that are on they're retired military, and so their retirement is not taxed at a federal level, but they have some other investments. Even with that, if you have some unused federal credits, you can't use them in the next tax year. So you never lose these tax credits. They're still available to you. And that is even beyond the 2015 cutoff. As I mentioned, if you had another transaction in 2015, that's viewed as separate. So this is the form that you use. This is the 2013 form that you filed, 5695, and that will feed back into your 1040 or 1040 Easy, or however you use it. And then for North Carolina, there are 2 forms. There's one specifically for renewable energy property, and then next there's another form, NC 478, which is a form you can use, which basically sums up all your tax credits, and then that throws it into your state tax return. Easy peasy. Next. So we're doing a little gymnastics here. The project, we take a project cost of $14,500, the federal tax credit 30%, and let's say in this, your federal tax works out to be $55.75 without considering this project, then your new federal tax is now $12.25, right? This is the reduction, and the thanks of a grateful nation for you to invest in renewable energy. Next. And the same thing on North Carolina, same project cost, same credit, and 35%. Your tax in this example is $25.75, but you're limited to $12.8 roughly. So you're reducing your tax down, and so your carryover is 37 and some change, right? So you'll have that in the 2015, 2016 return until you use it, okay? Next. Third keyword, share, okay? And that next. We really need you to, as Jennifer Roberts said, share your story, okay? And there's ways that you can get involved. Word of mouth goes, and personal testimonies go very far in this industry. And there's also a lot of organizations you can get involved with. Share your story with your public officials. They want to know about the success that you're having with these installations and this investment, especially in this state, but even in the broader picture. Next. We skip that. Well, this is kind of just saying that, when we start thinking differently, everything can become a power plant. And next. And so even if we got rid of all the billboards that showed you where the next Cracker Barrel is and turned it into solar, we could power about 3 million homes, but just saying. Next. But we are all part of a symphony, right? So accountants, installers, finance people, homeowners, we all have a part to play in this. And so, it's just a key to I'm glad you're doing this. I'm glad you're here. We'll take any questions you have. Next slide. And my contact info is on here. I don't know if you can read that real well, but I also have some cards, and that's, again, the company mascot. So thank you very much.